Breaking news this morning, the Jets head coach Robert Saleh has been fired, and we're going to talk about it here. So, welcome back to the Deep Digger Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew, my other host right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Hit that like button, drop some comments below, but more importantly, subscribe.
Yeah, I walked in today not thinking I was going to get fired, and you just let me go from the pod out of nowhere. I was thinking I could turn this season around, but I guess I don't get that chance.
I know we had this long trip from London, but dude, that sucks.
That's crazy that now's the time they're firing Robert Saleh. Like, did anyone see it coming this fast?
No, but also like, what does that solve?
Their
What does
new interim
firing
coach
Robert
is
Saleh solve?
the new interim coach is Jeff Ulbrich, the defense coordinator. So you basically get like the same thing.
Yeah, they're gonna run it back. Like it's basically the same thing minus Robert Saleh. And what is that like? What does this do for this New York Jets team? That I mean, realistically, defensively, they were actually looking pretty good. I guess that's why you have to promote Ulbrich to it because you can't. There's no way in hell you could promote Nate Hackett to interim coach. But we all know, like realistically, the coach and who is running this team is Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers isn't good.
Yeah, the offense is struggling big time, and I think the reason you make this move is because Robert Saleh can't do anything to turn this offense around. We've seen that the offense has been bad for years now under him. He's struggling to get wins, which isn't completely his fault, but also at a certain point you got to walk into the office and demand, guys, give me a fucking quarterback. Like last year, I think was the year where he should have been fired because the no sense of urgency getting a quarterback on this team when that defense could have went down as like one of the best defenses maybe ever if they're winning these games. It was so dominant that they're carrying a really bad Zach Wilson and plus other guys to almost the playoffs.
But that's not even his fault. Like, it's not his fault that they didn't go out and get a quarterback. That is on Joe Douglas and the shadow GM, which is Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers held this team hostage all last year, saying that I could come back. If we just make it to the playoffs, I could come back. I could come back, just dangling it in front of them. So they didn't make a move at quarterback. They ended up like, okay, well, if we can just get a few wins, we can and make it just to a wild card, Aaron Rodgers will come back. And even he was saying before the season's over, I will come back. So he held them hostage without making a big move, not making a big move. And I think that for him, he probably like I'm not saying I know anything, but I think in the back of their mind, they're like, okay, well, if we don't keep Aaron Rodgers happy, he will walk away, he will retire. We don't want that because we mortgaged our entire future on this 40-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, and Nathaniel Hackett. Like that's the added piece into this because Rodgers would not be here without Hackett. If you get rid of Hackett, Rodgers probably pissed and gone. And Hackett, I think, is the reason this team is losing. There and they even reported that there's no sign of firing Hackett anytime soon. So
Well, yeah, because you have to appease Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's pretty ridiculous the lengths that they're going to. Like, can you imagine even like 10 years ago, a franchise doing this for just one specific player? But like, no, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine like Michael Vick even on the Falcons, but pre like dog era, like him going to the Falcons and being like, I need this, this, and this. And he had like a stranglehold on that organization. I can't imagine them bending to him and being like, okay, let's do it. Even Peyton Manning, as old as he was, they were like, okay, well, Peyton, we are going to bench you for Brock Osweiler, and we're going to say it's for your health, and we'll play you again during the playoffs. Like, and even then, it's like, oh, can we play him? Should we start to play him or no?
and
Like,
he's they're underutilizing Garrett Wilson because he's not one of Aaron Rodgers' guys. Alan Lazard is their top receiver right now because of Aaron Rodgers.
yeah, and again, the move to Ulbrich doesn't make this Jets team any. It just doesn't move the needle for the Jets. Like, what does this do getting Robert Saleh out of there? Like, I don't think it made them a better team.
Well,
And like, if you look at it, Robert Saleh had like 6 quarterbacks that he played during his tenure. I don't think he got like a fair shake. But do I think that he was like Do I blame him 100%? No, but I mean, I could have saw it at the end of the season. Hey, it didn't really work out for you. We've gone through this major change. We have to stick with Aaron Rodgers, but to do it now, I don't think it makes sense at all.
Yeah, and I think the rumblings are right now. There's probably going to be a bunch of reports coming out. Saleh lost the locker room, and that's I think the main reason. And they always say like the coach doesn't know he lost the locker room until he's fired. So he might have thought everything was cool with him and the defense. Did you see Mekhi Becton tweeted out a meme where it's the guy in like the black trench coat and it's like me at my biggest hater's funeral?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, and he deleted it after. So come on, stand on your business, stand on your memes. But yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, we all saw the push away from the hug of Robert Saleh, and everyone tried to play it off like, oh no, it's situational. He just wants to be serious, or he was joking, he was laughing after. Like I don't know. That was we saw the cracks, we saw the breadcrumbs trails, and I think he kind of lost his locker room.
Yeah, and it just sucks because Joe Douglas bringing in Aaron Rodgers, you pretty much had to hand him the keys to the entire organization. And of course, who are they going to go with? They're going to go with the quarterback. Like they're going to try to rally around this guy because
Who's
he's won a
playing
Super Bowl
bad?
before.
Who's playing bad?
Yeah, he is playing. He's playing bad, and he looks old, and he looks like he doesn't have any athleticism left in his body. Like he had, like the two things that came out of the London game were like his 3 interceptions and him crawling on the sidelines. That's going to be an all-time meme moving forward.
Yeah, I seen
But he is playing
the
bad. Like he cost them the game. Like the defense did play really good, but Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions. It's ridiculous.
I seen the it was the Cameron Brink engagement and then Aaron Rodgers crawling away, like, devastated.
Ugh.
But yeah, this Jets team, I think they could go either way right now. Like try to figure out a way to win these next couple games, and I think they have a bye coming up and turn the season around. But I think it's gonna fall apart. I think this is gonna get kind of ugly in New York.
And that's the thing. That's the crazy thing about the AFC right now. They're in it. Like they're in the mix right now. They could still make the playoffs,
I
which is so insane.
I believe if they beat the Jets next week, I think they're in
They
first
are the
place.
Jets.
I mean, if they beat the Bills, the Jets beat the Bills next week, I believe they're in first place. Let me check
The
this.
Jets are
Yeah,
gonna beat the Jets though.
Jets gonna be the Jets. They play the Bills to get into first place on Monday night. Then they have
God.
the Steelers, Patriots, Texans, and then their schedule kind of lets up from there. But that's gonna kind of be the hardest patch of their schedule right now. So if they lose 3 out of 4 here, like the season's over.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, so like, do you want to transition to the Devante Adams of it? Because the Jets were on the list of teams that he would play for.
I think
And
it's more guaranteed that it's happening now.
I think that they have to, but like I was listening to someone talk about it and they're like, isn't it weird that more like if this was going to happen, it should have happened sooner. Like if Devontae really wanted to go to the Jets, wouldn't Aaron Rodgers just make it happen? Is he like losing his recruitability? Because like if I'm Devontae, why would I go from one situation that I hate and go to another situation which is like a dumpster fire?
I think it's more on the Raiders side of them trying to hold on to this facade that listen, we can maybe make the playoffs. We want Devontae here to help us do that. We're also trying to like win a couple games to keep some jobs here. And Devontae was finally like, nah, you know what? My hamstring's tight. I'm not gonna be here anymore. And I think Devontae reached his breaking point before the Raiders did. So now you have to trade him. And the Jets, it's not gonna fix all their problems. I think it's this band-aid that they're trying to be like, oh yeah, once Devontae's in here. But the rest of the receivers in there should not be happy. Like Garrett Wilson, I think that's going to make him even more frustrated in the offense. That he's going to get less touches. He moves down to like the third guy, maybe the fourth guy on the ring, where Aaron Rodgers has all his buddies again. So I don't know. I don't think this is going to fix anything. And also on Devontae's side, does he really truly want to go back to Aaron Rodgers? Where the rumor was when he first wanted to leave the Packers, it was because he wanted to do it without Aaron. That he wanted to show he was a good player outside of Aaron Rodgers. So now he wants to go back to that at the end of his career. But I mean, maybe after playing with such bad quarterback play, you're like, give me back to this guy. This is where I'll shine.
I don't know, dude. It's such a weird thing, and I don't think that that's a viable move. I don't think it helps the Jets. I mean, obviously, it gives Aaron Rodgers a familiar weapon. Obviously, he doesn't like to play with guys that aren't his guys. But it's like, figure it out, dude. We're paying you so much fucking money. Like, just go throw it to fucking Garrett Wilson, please. Can we get?
And
And I know he like force fed him in London, but like, can we continue that? Can we continue to like build upon that relationship? And instead, I feel like it's gonna backtrack the offense because he's gonna be like, okay, Garrett, go ahead and just sit on the bench, bro. I mean, what was Devante's list? Wasn't it the 49ers, the Jets, the Ravens, and I think like one other team, right? Probably the Panthers.
Saints, because the
Uh,
Derek Carr connection. But
well,
I mean,
then
I'm
Friday, Devante Adams puts on Instagram, I believe, the picture of Edgar Allan Poe, which, famous from Baltimore, his poem or the short story, The Raven. And people were like, oh, okay, well, is he for sure now going to the Baltimore Ravens? That could be crazy. And someone I seen was like, no, it means that who was Edgar Allan Poe? Edgar Allan Poe was a drug addict. Edgar Allan Poe, at the end of his life, moved to New York. He's going to the Jets, just like Aaron Rodgers.
And Devante was supposed to be on Kay Adams' show, I think tomorrow or
Today.
today. And she ended up being like, hey, a lot of things happening right now. He's not going to be on the show. She was basically like, listen, something's happening. So I think he's getting traded this week for sure.
Yeah, I think it's happening either today or tomorrow. I mean, realistically, he should be going somewhere. If I'm the Raiders, the longer that I let him sit, the less value I'm going to get for him. And if I'm Devontae, I'm like, okay, like let me just go to somewhere immediately and let me help out, because the longer he sits, it doesn't help the Raiders. It doesn't help whatever team he's going to. Let's just get it done and move forward.
Yeah, let's talk about some Deshaun Watson, because I seen a breakdown and someone was like, this is a path to get out of Deshaun Watson's contract. You make it a bonus right now, and then next year you take an $86 million cap hit, and then the next year it's an $89 million cap hit. I mean, people were like, that's like 3 times the most like dead cap someone's ever taken. So they're fucked, right? Like Deshaun, here's the thing too, like I've seen people try to defend him on Twitter, like the receivers aren't catching. Look at this throw, like he dropped it. The receivers hate him probably. Like, okay, yeah, they probably have some drops, but also he's playing like shit for the most part.
Yeah, he's playing extremely bad like that. And for them to be like, okay, well, everyone's playing like shit. It's all them. It's not him. Okay, well, what has them so demoralized? Like, I'd be just like, look at the Jets last year. Once they figured out Aaron Rodgers was coming back, they completely fell off a cliff. And it's not because they forgot how to play football. It's because they didn't believe the guy that was taking snaps. And that's the same thing that's happening with the Cleveland Browns. They don't believe in this guy. And realistically, they don't see a way out of it. They can read the writing on the wall. They also have smartphones. They have Twitter. They have ESPN. They're seeing that realistically, we are going to be stuck with Deshaun Watson. I'm going to do what I can for me, but I know this is a train going nowhere. I know we're headed for a cliff, and I need to jump out as soon as possible. Like, if you're Nick Chubb and you're like this badass running back, are you going to waste years behind Deshaun Watson? No, I'm probably not going to run my heart. Probably not going to try to rehab as fast as I can and get back on the field and kill myself, because we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and the thing is, the organization knew the writing was on the wall for Deshaun because they didn't want to bring Flacco back, because they knew, listen, I don't know how well Deshaun's gonna play. I mean, they knew the second they got into preseason in the training camp what they can and can't do with Deshaun. And if you bring Flacco back into that, the crowd's gonna go crazy. The players, you're gonna lose the locker room a lot faster than you probably lost it already, Stefanski, because the players are gonna know we just won with this guy. Why aren't we putting him back in? And they might have fucked up bringing Jameis Winston as a backup, because he's the one leading the team chants before the game. He's the one making speeches at halftime. He's the one doing charity around Cleveland. He's becoming a fixture in the community, and he's the backup quarterback. Like, you don't see Deshaun Watson popping up everywhere in Cleveland. Like, Jameis Winston, if the second he goes in for Deshaun Watson, is going to bring a level of juice that this team hasn't seen in weeks, all season. So when do you ever pull that trigger to try to salvage maybe the season or even salvage your job if you're Stefanski?
Honestly, if I'm Stefanski, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, my resume speaks for itself. Like, I've won with guys, and this is a guy that I can't win with. The cap hit that we're taking is crazy. His level of play is insane. Like, it's insanely bad. We went to the playoffs last year. It's not even, we went to the playoffs last year with Joe Flacco. We didn't just win a couple games. We went on an incredible run. And now we're backtracking. Why? The only thing that's different is Deshaun Watson. So, like, again, Mr. Haslam, the owner, if you wanted this guy so fucking badly, I will play him. I'm gonna ride the wheel, like, I'm gonna ride it until the wheels fall off, and I'm gonna show you how bad it is, and then you guys figure it out from there, because this was a you problem, not a me problem. You guys figure it out. I don't think Stefanski should get fired. I think that if anything, like, maybe this offseason there's a mutual parting of ways. You know how that happens? Like, hey, I'm done. I think you guys need to have someone else. Like, if I'm, because Stefanski's a really good coach.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, but you tied him to this anchor that is Deshaun Watson. And now I don't know what, if there's like an unwritten rule, or they just told him do not pull Deshaun Watson for anything, or if he's just like doing it out of spite. But he is refusing to go to Jameis. And I think that it's because he knows, and the organization knows, as soon as they go to Jameis, there is no backtracking and going to Deshaun Watson. And can we have a backup quarterback getting the amount of money that we are giving Deshaun Watson?
And it's not just, oh, Deshaun's playing bad. It's also he can't run the offense to the full extent of what Stefanski wants to do. It's how people were complaining for, like, Jimmy can't run the full Shanahan offense. Like, Deshaun cannot run the offense that Stefanski was putting together last season. And that's what's already stifling them. And then throw in the fact that he's missing throws, that they're dropping balls, that he doesn't want to run, that he's fumbling, like, he's holding on the ball forever. There's so much added onto the plate of, okay, but I can't scheme this guy. I can't get him to do what I need my players to do, and he's not playing well. And I think that's what's mostly wrong with the Browns right now. And the defense, supposed to be one of the best defenses in the league, is just not there. Giving up, what, 30 something points to the Redskins, or Redskins.
Oh, there, buddy.
Oh, canceled, to the Commanders. And Joe Flacco's over there putting up 34 against the Jags. So proof is in the pudding right there.
I think what it is too, again, you can only do so much, but if you're on the field, like, I was listening to an interview with Will Compton. They were asking him, like, okay, when you're on defense, like, realistically, how many plays in a row can you go like full speed? And he was like, I mean, if there is a third down and they convert the third down, you're like, fuck, like, it just takes so much out of you to go another 3 downs, that, like, because you're going full speed, like, the longer that this Browns team goes without a quarterback, the longer that this defense is on the field, the more likely they are to give up big plays. And that's what you've seen down the stretch. And I think it's only going to get worse as they go out throughout this season. There's going to be more and more injuries, more and more people just gassed out, and more people demoralized and wanting to give their full effort, because, as Antonio Pierce said, people are going to start to make business decisions.
Yeah, I will see. We'll see. I mean, they have such a good roster. I think they could turn it around, but now I think people are thinking trade Amari Cooper, try to get what you can. Maybe we go to Jameis and see what he got. Try to maybe do a buyout for Deshaun. I seen someone tweeting out that Deshaun Watson, since joining the Browns, has more settled court cases than touchdown passes.
Damn.
So it's looking rough. But yeah, let's move on to a little bit the Texans and the Bills game. And before we even talk about the game, because I think just Stephon Diggs giving the side eye to Josh Allen is like meme of the season worthy. There was reports coming out that Stephon Diggs was hooking up with Cardi B Was it Cardi B?
Yeah, it was Cardi B while
Cardi
she was
B
8 months pregnant.
and then people were coming out like, "Stephon Diggs is a dog. He's been hooking up with all these other female famous people," and, they pulled up the clip where it's in the Bills locker room. We're like, "Who would you not let date your daughter?" And everyone's like, "Stephon Diggs, Stephon Diggs." So, bro's a dog on the field and off the field.
How about, when he was on, was it Family Feud? And it was like, "Finish the sentence, leave it," and he's all, "In."
Bro, hide your girlfriends because Stephon Diggs is out there in Houston.
He's lurking, he's lurking.
But yeah, as for the game, the Texans got a good win against the Bills. Josh Allen 9 for 30, 131. Nothing
Yes.
really stood out for them. Do they need? I mean, they're relying on Matt Collins over here to be one of their guys. I don't know who Ray Davis is. Sorry, no disrespect, but what's going on with the Bills? Are they going to be able to beat one of the good teams in the NFC?
Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, there's such a wild card. I think that the longer like, they just need to pound the rock. I think they need to convert and be like, "Okay, we shouldn't be passing as much. We don't have the guys to do it. Let's run the ball. Let's do some read options. Let's get Josh feeling better about himself. Let's dink and dunk. Let's get fucking Dalton Kincaid." Like, we keep hearing Dalton Kincaid is the white Kyle Pitts. Like, he is white Kyle Pitts. There's so much hype. He's going to be a guy. He's going to do this. And then he just gets like, he's just average. And so it's like, we need to get like some of these investments that we've made, some of these like, "Hey, we're really counting on you." We need them to come to fruition. But I think like, you kept in it. You ultimately, what it came down to was like, once the Texans lost Nico Collins, they scored 9 points the rest of the game. I think Nico Collins was a huge driver. I think this speaks more to like the Texans and their ability to like win games rather than the Bills. I think the Bills have shown kind of what they are, and they need weapons. I think you should go sniffing around and see if Devante would come to you. I think you should just start looking around and see like, "Hey, where can we make a move here?" Because we just need a spark. We need another guy next to Keon Coleman. And Keon he's actually done really good his rookie season, but it's like we need more. We need something to help Josh out here.
Yeah, because they're not winning this game. And you could say the same thing for the Chiefs, but you're also like, but Chiefs are winning. They're
Yeah.
like Mahomes gonna figure it out regardless. And I think they try to put that same thought on Josh Allen because every year they want Josh Allen to carry this squad. They want him to be Superman. And every year we're like, okay, but he can't carry it in the clutch moments. Like he needs
Well,
some
because
guys around him.
I don't even think it's that like that he can't do it. I think that it takes so much just to get you to those clutch moments that by the time he does it, he's already gassed out.
Yeah. And just give James Cook the ball a lot more. Just keep feeding James Cook. I don't know how many more times I got to say it, but it letting Josh Allen try to be the main guy for 95% of the game when you have a guy like James Cook right there who can take a lot of the load off of Josh Allen's shoulders. I think you need to lean more into that. And I think when they get in these close games against good teams, they start to shy away from the run game. Oh, Josh, let's make some highlight throws, and it just doesn't lead to success.
Okay, and like let's move on. I think it might be time to move on from McDermott because I mean, we seen him. There was rumblings about the locker room last year. This year, what are your thoughts on the move at the end of the game where they're pinned back deep, and instead of running the ball and making the Houston Texans waste their timeouts in a tie game, they end up doing 3 straight passes and then still having to punt.
And that's my point exactly. That's what he does all the time where they're like, "Listen, Josh, go out and win it." It's like they want a Heisman moment for Josh Allen every season. Like, "Oh, Josh is actually, you know what? He's the best quarterback in the league. He's going to make the highlight play. He's going to win the game for us." When it's like, "Bro, just run the fucking ball with James Cook and let's get out here and get the win." And so I see that repeatedly from McDermott. He also leans into that, "Oh, Josh Allen's going to play hero ball." And they love that shit for their team, but it doesn't lead to success in these big games.
And again, even if you think like, okay, we're gonna zig when everybody would zag, right? do a read option play with Josh Allen. Fake it to James and have Josh hit the outside. At least you keep the clock running. You might get a little bit more yards. And realistically, Josh is pretty fucking big. I'm pretty sure he could mull over a couple people. And realistically, all you wanted to do is put yourself into position to go to overtime. And then you could play hero ball. Then you could do all this shit. But there was no way that you guys, as effective as your pass game was that entire game, there's no way that you should have thought like we could do it today. Like today is our day. It's just like how they have a pitcher and it's just, hey, sometimes it's not your day, kid. You just got shelled in the first 3 innings. Just go ahead and sit down.
Yeah, but they see that and they're like, listen, go and play 12 innings for us, kid. Like you're gonna pitch your way out of this slump. And that's what they keep on trying to do with Josh Allen. And when it's like, let's talk about the Chiefs now, because there's different ways that they win. And Mahomes is figuring out with a bunch of guys off the street right now. So Mahomes, 330 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick. Kareem Hunt comes in 100 yards and a tug. Juju Smith-Schuster, 130 yards. Why are the Chiefs still winning games with these guys? Like they're losing everyone on their offensive skill players, but they're winning these games.
It's the quarterback and it's the coach. These are guys that have, again, experience just winning. And with Andy Reid, he can highlight random dudes that have alligators or crocodiles and make them look like they were first round picks. Like that's what Andy Reid is going to do. But also, Pat Mahomes is a second Andy Reid on the field. He can read the defense and understand, where do I need to go with this? How can I make this a play that is actually going to work? It is like the perfect instrument for Andy Reid. And he lives vicarious. Like it's basically Andy Reid if you plugged his brain into a quarterback's body, and that's what's going on.
I mean, it also helps when your offensive line can hold and they're not going to call flag. So, did you see Jermaine Johnson? I think on Instagram commented like everyone was putting a clip of him getting held like pretty bad, and then Mahomes runs for a long first down, and he put, what did he say? He's like, yeah, I thought I was going to get the call there. Like the other teams are like knowingly calling this shit out, and I get it. There's holding on every play, but the Chiefs' track record is just like a mile long at this point of getting these calls. He put Jermaine Johnson on this play, put 6 laughing emojis, 7 laughing emojis. I actually thought I was getting a call, and then he put a point emoji.
Damn.
So I mean, the players know. They know they're not getting those calls against the Chiefs.
But also, it's one of those things. It's like, you know how in NBA superstars get different calls than the rest of the people. Like that's exactly what's going to happen with this Chief. And it's not even like that the league wants it to happen or anything like that. I think like referees are people and people have bias. You know what I mean? And so if you kind of get different calls, if you're Patrick Mahomes, if you're Travis Kelce, if you're blocking for Patrick Mahomes, you're going to get a little bit of a different whistle than everybody else.
I mean, but who else is getting these whistles? It's literally like the Chiefs are getting the most of these whistles.
Well, who else is back-to-back champs?
I don't know.
You know
I'm seeing a lot. I'm just seeing a lot of comparison between Miami football team, Miami Hurricanes, and the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, getting calls going their way in crucial moments. I don't know.
I mean, that's completely different. I think if you were to look back at the Patriots dynasty, you would see different whistles than the rest of the entire league. And again, it's just people are human, people have biases. And when you're winning, you're going to treat your superstars different than the rest of the league.
Yeah, I mean, and the Saints also, I don't think they deserve this win anyways. Like Derek Carr's come back down to earth. Kamara didn't have this amazing day that we've been seeing from him. And 26 points, if you're the Saints team, you need to have an explosive enough offense to keep up with that. That should be pretty good. But this Chiefs defense is dominant. I think they're actually better than the offense at this point.
Yeah, it's so crazy to see like the transition and them take over and be like, hey, don't worry, we got this. Chris Jones is a monster. I'm so glad that they decided to pay him finally. Like last year. You know how it was up in the air and he was sitting there with like those two dudes in the stands and it was like a big holdout. He deserved his money. He deserved to get paid because he is like a crucial part of this that team and what makes them championship caliber.
Yeah, that defense I think is the main reason they're going to win a Super Bowl again. I don't see another team really. If no one could beat them now, what are we thinking when they get possibly Rashee Rice back, when they get another receiver in here, when they start to put everything back together, like on the offense side of the ball, and it's not like it even fell apart. It's still rolling. So
Yeah.
I think Mahomes just going to keep stepping up in the big moments. And the thing is, unlike Josh Allen, he'll win any way it takes. He'll hand the ball off. He'll run it himself. Like he will figure it out. He'll play a defensive game and not throw turnovers. So it's going to be really hard to knock off this Chiefs team.
It's pretty scary. What you think about it?
Well, let's think about, do we want to talk 49ers? Because they seem like the biggest threat to the Chiefs for a while. And I mean, I was at the game. It was so hot, but honestly, I didn't really feel it. Maybe the alcohol was kicking in. It was the hottest game ever at Levi's. And they were showing pictures of people sitting underneath the stands watching the games on a small TV screen. And I don't know. I saw a packed house. I didn't really, even when I went to the bathroom, I didn't see people sitting out there. But tough conditions, a really fall apart loss for the 49ers. Is this team just bad this year?
It's tough to say because, like, for the most part, they were in control of the game. It looked like they should have been winning the entire way through. I think it was last week and this week combined. It goes to show that this team, as currently constructed, cannot finish games. Both of those games should have been easy dubs, and it's like, what are we doing? Why are we giving away stupid ass plays? Why can't we tackle when we need to? Why Kyler Murray is throwing up the deuces from 42 fucking yards away? What are we doing here? So I know people are like, oh, Swarson's looking really good. Swanson, if he was fucking, what's his name? The guy last year, I'm fucking brain farting right now. Defensive court, Steve Wilkes. If he was Steve Wilkes, we'd have his head on a fucking platter right now. And Steve Wilkes wasn't this bad. Like the team, like could actually make tackles, could actually like play defense. Here, they just at times they just forget. They're just like, I don't know what I'm doing here, guy. So like,
and Sorensen's thing is
good.
Sorensen's thing is supposed to be secondary, and our secondary looks lost out there. And Jair Brown is a liability. They cannot communicate before the snap. They're getting lost once these guys stack and exit their breaking routes. Like Jair Brown is really fucking up Mooney Ward's side of the field.
I think what they should do is just be like, okay, fuck it. Take Devondre Campbell out of there. Move Jair to linebacker and then put someone else back there that can actually cover. Because at least then he has that ability to kind of fly all over the field. He'd be a lot faster than Campbell. Campbell, we just seen is just, again, he is a liability in coverage. He's just an old school style of linebacker that this team does not need. So let's get him out of there. Let's move Jair down, and then let's put someone else back there that can actually cover.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just see if Mustafa can develop more. And Ufunga is not really making the highlight plays that we're used to him seeing. He's just kind of there at this point. And then, I mean, I think Demo and Mooney Ward are playing decent for the most part, but it's just we're giving up chunk plays in the middle of the field constantly, and it's on third downs mostly. And we just can't get this defense off the field in moments where it's like, listen, we're running away with this game. If we just make a couple stops, this shit's over. And then on the offense side of the ball, can we punch in any touchdowns? In the red zone, in the baby zone, can we get any 6 points in?
All right. So we know Christian McCaffrey's out. Jordan Mason, in theory, should be able to punch these in. So Jordan Mason should be able to he's that power back. But like once it gets down to the red zone, he just like, again, it's one of those things like, I don't know what his problem is or what, like he just gets so short-sighted or maybe he's tired because Garindo sucks. Like, I think we're ready to kind of give up on that. Let's just move Breida into that second
Yeah,
spot.
why have we not brought up Breida to give some relief to Mason?
He got a couple of snaps this past game, and I think that we're going to start to see more and more of him because Gurindo is just not it. Like, I'm done with the Gurindo experiment. Let's go ahead and move off of him. Let's go to Breida, someone that is proven in this league to be able to get yardage and at least give Jordan Mason a break.
Yeah. And maybe even go back to Debo being in the running back spot in the red zone to try to get him on the edge or get him going, because he's doing great, I think, this year on the outside as receiver. But I think we need some kind of juice in the backfield other than Mason, especially in the red zone.
Yeah, again, it's just this game, the Rams game. Both of those games just prove that they just need to learn how to close it out. Like, and I think it is the defensive side of the ball, if we're going to be completely honest. Yeah, if the obviously if the offense could punch in touchdowns rather than field goals, that'd be ideal. But right now, it's just kind of where we're at. And again, for these past few weeks, it's been a lot of injuries and making sure, like, hey, we just got to get something across. Jawan Jennings has stepped up. Brandon Ayuk this week showed that he has signs of life again. So I think we're going to get it right on the offensive front. It's just defensively, just fucking learn how to tackle again.
Yeah, we'll see. Who we got? Oh, we got Thursday night, Seahawks Niners. So if the
Oh, yeah.
49ers win, they're in first place in the division. So this all could be wiped away, clean slate, and then you control your own destiny from there. So we'll see. But
if they lose, they've lost now to every team in the NFC West.
in what looked like not a strong NFC West this year.
Yeah, which is crazy, dude. Like, that's the Kyle Shanahan just needs to figure it out. I'm not saying that, like, I'm not saying anything, but we can criticize this team for being what it is, which is so far this year underachieving.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got for NFL right now, but we'll see you next time. So make sure you guys subscribe. We're getting close to 500, so we appreciate that. And comment your thoughts, like the video. We'll see you next time.
Later.